inherited these items, and they came down to me from my great-great-grandfather. He spent some time in the Sitka area of Alaska in the spring of 1877 as part of a scientific expedition. And he spent a lot of time when he was there with the native people, interviewing them and observing their customs. And I don't know specifically if he was given these or if he may have bartered something.
Carved from horn and wood, these objects carry a presence that goes far beyond their form. Created by the Tlingit people of the Pacific Northwest, they are not simply tools, but expressions of identity belief and lineage. The ladle shaped from mountain sheep horn reveals a remarkable transformation of material. Softened through heat, then molded and carved, it takes on a sweeping, elegant form. A repair along its body stitched with whale baleen speaks to its long life and the value placed on preservation. The carved figures represent clan spirits, protective forces believed to guide and empower those who used it. Even more extraordinary is the grease bowl, likely dating as early as the late 18th century. Its surface is alive with imagery, most notably a raven with a human figure, a powerful symbol in Tlingit mythology associated with transformation and spiritual journeys. Once filled with eulachon oil, a vital resource for nourishment and ritual, the bowl served both practical and ceremonial roles. Together, these pieces embody an animistic worldview where every object holds spirit and meaning. They are not relics, but living expressions of culture, memory, and belief.
I think at auction, this bowl would realize easily in the $175,000 to $225,000 range.
Wow, my goodness.
They're spectacular. And the tongue,
as the raven would say.
The tongue is important on this little fellow. There is spiritual significance coming out of the bird, empowering those who use the bowl.
Wow.
So the tongue is a very important element.
Thank you so much.
My mom worked with a lovely little lady who became ill. My mom and dad helped her out a little bit. And when she passed, she had left a note for her landlord to call my mom if anything happened to her. And the landlord called us, and we were sad she passed away, but he wanted everything out of her house that day. My husband and I took the day off work, and we went down with his big truck and started loading all of her furniture, and this basket was in there. And that was July of '88, so 30-odd years I've had it.
What was thought to be a forgotten keepsake tucked away in a hat box slowly reveals itself as something far more significant. As the story unfolds, the basket begins to speak not just as an object, but as a work of extraordinary craftsmanship. Woven between 1955 and 1960, this piece is attributed to Carrie Bethel, one of the most respected Native American basket weavers of the 20th century. At first glance, its beauty is evident, but looking closer, the precision becomes almost astonishing. Every strand is intentional, every pattern carefully repeated, forming a medallion-like design with near-perfect symmetry. The materials themselves tell part of the story. Sedge forms the base. Willow provides structure. Redbud adds warmth, and bracken fern creates deep black accents. These are not random choices, but part of a disciplined tradition where nothing is left to chance. And that's where the true weight of the piece lies. This is no ordinary basket. It is the result of years of labor, cultural knowledge, and artistic control quietly preserved in plain sight.
I would put a price on this basket at auction of a good $75,000 to $85,000.
Oh?
Yes. I don't know what it would cost to repair. I would insure the basket probably for $150,000.
I can't breathe.
My husband's father was Maynard Dixon. He always had Indian artifacts and things in his studios wherever he was. And when he died, of course, they went to his then wife, Edith Hamlin. And when Edith passed away, this was given to us.
Certain objects carry not just history, but the presence of the people who lived alongside them. This monumental ceramic vessel from Zia Pueblo in New Mexico, created around 1920, is one such piece shaped by tradition and later held within the world of artist Maynard Dixon. Rising nearly 18 inches tall and spanning 20 inches wide, its scale alone sets it apart. Large Pueblo vessels of this size rarely survive intact, making this example especially remarkable. Built using the traditional coil method, the clay was hand-formed, smoothed, and painted before firing a process requiring both precision and deep experience. The surface is alive with meaning. Stylized feather and wing motifs connect the vessel to the upper world, a realm of clouds and rain. A sweeping, undulating line divides the composition, creating a visual rhythm that shifts the viewer's perception between upper and lower realms. While the exact maker remains uncertain, the craftsmanship suggests a highly skilled potter, possibly from the Medina family, known for their work in Zia Pueblo. In Pueblo tradition, pottery was the domain of women passed down through generations. Beyond its artistry, its connection to Maynard Dixon adds another layer of significance linking Native American tradition with the broader story of American art.
I would value this pot on a retail basis in the neighborhood of $70,000.
Oh my God.
And if you had to insure it, maybe a little more.
Well, as I say, the money is wonderful, but it's the spirit and what it means to my husband, and that's what really counts.
My aunt had gone out to a trading post to visit a friend. As she was leaving, she saw this pot sitting on the porch. And so she asked her friend, the trading post owner, wife, if she could buy the pot. She said, "Oh, that old thing, you can have it." So she took it.
That was the Mike Kirk trading post,
wife.
and they were in Manuelito, New Mexico?
Yes.
Resting quietly on a porch, this pot once seemed like an ordinary object, easily overlooked and casually given away. Yet it would later reveal itself as a remarkable creation by Nampeyo, the matriarch of modern Pueblo pottery. Likely made between the 1890s and early 1900s, the vessel reflects Nampeyo's revival of ancient Sikyatki designs. Her work is known for its flowing forms and balanced compositions, transforming prehistoric motifs into a new visual language. As her eyesight declined in the 1920s, Nampeyo continued shaping the pots, while her daughter Fanny Nampeyo contributed to their decoration. This collaboration became a defining aspect of her later pieces, blending tradition with continuity across generations. The surface carries elegant, abstract patterns, carefully arranged yet full of movement. Each line speaks to a deep understanding of form and heritage, making the piece not only visually striking, but historically significant.
On today's auction marketplace, this pot would sell for between $30,000 and $50,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it even more.
You gasped.
My goodness.
Does that take you by surprise?
Yes, it did.
This pot came from an estate, some very wealthy people back east, and it ended up with my mother is how it happened. She was married to one of the heirs of the estate, and then he inherited the pot, and it just sat in her house.
Long before black-on-black pottery defined a tradition, there were earlier hands shaping its foundation. This vessel from San Ildefonso Pueblo in New Mexico, created in the late 19th century, represents that formative moment in Pueblo ceramic history. Its soft gray slip and fluid surface stand in contrast to the later polished blackware most closely associated with Maria Martinez. Instead, this piece reflects an earlier aesthetic, quieter in tone, but rich in character. Encircling the form are stylized bird motifs and abstract patterns painted with a light, almost ethereal touch. Turned over, a faint inscription reveals something extraordinary. The name Florentino Montoya, one of the key early potters of San Ildefonso, and a teacher within the tradition that would later influence Maria Martinez herself. Signed examples from this period are exceptionally rare, offering a direct link to the origins of a major artistic movement. What makes this piece so important is not just its beauty, but its place in the lineage. It stands at the threshold between tradition and transformation, a rare surviving voice from the generation that shaped what was to come.
They're extremely rare. We've never seen a signed one come up for sale. On a bad day in a nice gallery, $25,000.
Wow.
It could go double that, could go 40 or 50.
Oh
It's a
my
great
God.
thing. It is a very great piece of art.
Okay, thank
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for telling me that. That's just great news.
This was acquired by my wife's grandfather, who was a part-time U.S. Marshal, and he was on a train in Colorado going to Illinois, where he lived, and he was quite a poker player. And evidently, the story is that he acquired this by winnings in a poker game on the train. And that was back in the 1920s. So this has been in my wife's family for about 100 years. We think it's Southwest Indian, but we're not sure.
Won in a poker game on a train nearly a century ago, this basket carries a story as compelling as the object itself. What might have seemed like a curious prize has proven to be a remarkable example of Apache basketry from the American Southwest. Woven around the late 19th to early 20th century, this is a large-scale olla-form basket traditionally used for storing corn. Its impressive size alone sets it apart, as most baskets of this type have not survived due to their weight and daily use. The structure with its rounded body and narrower neck reflects both function and balance. What makes this piece especially striking is its decoration. Encircling the surface are detailed figures of people, animals, and geometric forms far more elaborate than typically seen. The diamond pattern unifies the composition, while materials like devil's claw create deep black accents against the natural fiber. Despite its age, the basket remains in notably stable condition, with only minor wear. Slight asymmetry in the form reflects natural use over time, rather than flaw adding to its authenticity.
If it came up for auction today, I would expect it to bring $30,000 to $40,000, which, you know, is a pretty big difference from the card game in the 1920s.
That's right.
My sister and I inherited them when our brother left everything that he had to the both of us. He did a lot of traveling over the years. He brought back a lot of beautiful Southwestern pottery. And the little bit I know about it is just from the books that we kept when he passed away and started reading on Maria, but we knew that was his favorite potterer.
What began as a brother's passion for travel and collecting has become a remarkable group of works tied to one of the most celebrated names in Native American pottery. These vessels created by Maria Martinez and her son Popovi Da represent a defining moment in the evolution of Pueblo ceramics. Each piece carries their dual signature, a detail that immediately elevates its importance. Popovi Da worked alongside Maria for a relatively short period, making their collaborations especially sought after. The date markings such as May 1965 place these works firmly in that later mature phase of production. The deep black surface is the result of a specialized firing technique known as reduction firing, developed in the early 20th century. This process gives the pottery its signature sheen, while the mate designs stand out in subtle contrast. Motifs like feathers and the avanyu, a water serpent symbol, connect the pieces to themes of life, water, and spiritual power. What truly sets this group apart is condition. Unlike many surviving examples, these remain exceptionally well preserved with minimal wear. In a field where condition drives value, that distinction is critical.
Which were just sort of Art Deco style tourist pieces from the 1960s.
60s, right.
They're worth $24,000 on the low end, $36,000 on the high end, and possibly more.
Okay.
It's about collectors wanting pristine examples, and you've got them.
Right.
It was my mother-in-law's, and it was given to her by her family, who had got it in about 1870s. And the Indian who gave it to them said that it was in her family for 75 years.
Not every object can be traced to a single place or maker, and this vessel tells a more complex story. Created in the American Southwest around the 1860s to 1880s, this rare Pueblo canteen reflects a meeting of cultures rather than a single tradition. Its roots are closely tied to Zia Pueblo in New Mexico, a community shaped by movement and exchange. After the Pueblo Revolt in the late 1600s, returning groups brought influences from Hopi Laguna and Acoma, creating a shared visual language that can be seen in this piece. Made from Rio Grande clay and finished with a slip glaze, the canteen was designed for use likely to carry water once sealed with a corn cob stopper. The painted deer motifs feature heart lines, symbols of life and spiritual energy often linked to Zuni imagery, while the broader design suggests Hopi influence blending multiple traditions into one form. What makes this piece exceptional is its uniqueness. The sculptural presence, the layered cultural references, and its strong visual identity set it apart from more typical examples. It stands as a rare expression of a time when traditions overlapped and new forms emerged from shared experience.
Well, an easy auction estimate for this piece would be $25,000 to $35,000. It is quite extraordinary. Just form and function and the figural aspect of it, he's a very striking canteen.
I was at a yard sale in northern Michigan, and I paid $3 for it.
What inspired you to buy it?
I'm really attracted to Native American materials, pottery, rugs.
Picked up for just a few dollars at a yard sale, this small pot carries the quiet possibility of something far greater. Created by the Hopi people of the First Mesa in the American Southwest, it reflects a tradition deeply rooted in both material and meaning. Hopi pottery is instantly recognizable through its clay and sound. The body is thick, slightly porous, and when gently tapped, it produces a soft, almost wooden tone. This piece shows all of those characteristics, along with a warm redware surface and delicate black mineral paint. Its form is known as a seed jar, with a rounded body and narrow opening. The design includes a stylized bear paw motif, a signature element often associated with Nampeyo, the most influential Hopi potter of the early 20th century. Inspired by ancient Sikyatki pottery, she led a revival that reshaped Pueblo ceramics. While attribution requires expert confirmation, the sensitivity of the design and its subtle irregular form suggest strong potential. Whether by Nampeyo or a contemporary of her circle, it remains a compelling example of Hopi artistry.
I think if this was to come to auction and it's not an Nampeyo, it would have a value of probably about $1,800 to $2,000. Now, if we can prove that it's Nampeyo at auction, she stands to bring anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000. Thank you for bringing this in today.
That would be wonderful.
It was delightful, and I hope it turns out for the very best.
Yes, thank you very much.
I bought it at an antique store on Union Street in San Francisco. I saw a bunch of them in the display window and said, oh, they have to be too much, but stopped and I said, wow, I can afford this. It's 1 week's salary.
Oh my goodness.
That was the big sacrifice.
Displayed behind glass in a San Francisco shop window, this basket once felt like a bold purchase, a full week's salary for something simply beautiful. Decades later, it reveals itself as a masterwork of Yokuts basketry from California's Central Valley. Dating to the early 20th century, this is a classic bottleneck basket defined by its flared shoulder and narrow neck. The precision of the weave is immediately striking, each stitch placed with intention and consistency. The diagonal pattern encircling the form is known as the rattlesnake design, a powerful motif rooted in ceremonial tradition. Originally, baskets like this were used in rituals involving rattlesnakes, reflecting deep spiritual connections. As tourism grew, these forms evolved, incorporating small figural elements and decorative details to appeal to new audiences while preserving their cultural meaning. Traces of red trade yarn and quail top knots remain along the rim, subtle reminders of its original adornment. Though time has softened some of these details, the structure and design remain remarkably intact.
A retail value of this basket would be somewhere in the vicinity of $24,500.
No, I did not envision that it had gone that much more. I can't do the math in my head.
Well, I bought it about 30 years ago from a Haida Indian woman who had just retired from fishing, commercial salmon fishing on Prince of Wales Island. She was born and raised on Prince of Wales Island, which is, I think, the largest island in the Haida Indian country.
That's right.
I was in the insurance business. They moved to Bellingham, my home, and wanted to insure their home. So I went out to the house to meet them, and this was a doorstop.
What once sat quietly holding open a front door reveals a far older and more powerful story. This carved stone object, long used as a simple doorstop, is in fact a Northwest Coast Native American pestle, likely dating to the pre-contact period before European arrival. Carved from dense, fine-grained basalt, its weight and durability speak to both function and permanence. But it is the sculpted top that transforms it. The head, most likely representing a raven, carries deep symbolic meaning in Haida and other Northwest Coast cultures, often tied to creation identity and clan lineage. Unlike utilitarian tools, this level of embellishment suggests status. Objects like this were not made for everyday use alone, but for individuals of importance, possibly a high-ranking woman within her community. The pestle would have been used to grind food from plant materials to salmon, connecting it directly to sustenance and survival. What makes this piece extraordinary is its survival. Once half buried in coastal mud, it has endured centuries, preserving both craftsmanship and cultural identity in a single form.
I think a retail value for this would be in the region of $18,000 to $22,000.
No.
It's a remarkable object. It's a killer object.
I bought it on a wedding trip 22 years ago on the island of Kauai. I fell in love with it. I think it's an effigy bowl. I'm not really sure.
Do you have any idea where it's from?
I always called it Pacific Northwest, maybe Eskimo.
It's not often that a single object blurs the line between utility and spirit. Carved from spruce wood, this rare piece is attributed to Inuit culture of the Arctic, likely dating from the late 18th to early 19th century. At its core, it resembles a bowl, yet the carved human head rising from its surface transforms it into something far more complex. Inuit craftsmanship was never purely decorative. Objects were believed to hold an inner spirit, often referred to as inua, giving them presence and meaning beyond their physical form. The hollowed back suggests it may have functioned as a miniature mask, possibly used in ritual or ceremonial contexts. Subtle carved grooves and faint traces of pigment hint at a once more vivid appearance, while visible repairs speak to its long life and the care taken to preserve it. What makes this piece exceptional is its ambiguity. It exists between object and symbol, between tool and spiritual form, offering a glimpse into a worldview where every creation carries both purpose and soul.
I will put a price of, say, between $18,000 and $20,000.
Oh my goodness.
And I think with more research, that's a retail price. And I think at auction, it possibly could go much higher.
Oh my
But I like
word.
to be conservative about this, and I think $18,000 to $20,000 is a conservative price. It's really a remarkable object.
This is my wedding gift. Makes me want to cry because of the history of where I got it and how I got it.
It's been passed down through my family, from my great-grandmother, grandmother, to my father, and then to me.
And that was in Hawaii?
Yes, in Hawaii. It's been used for quite a few things.
Right.
It was used to spin kittens, by my son. We also used to spin in it when we were little kids, I myself.
Right.
And it's been used in a robbery to carry stuff out, and then they left it behind. And it's been used as collateral for a small loan between my mother and one of her friends.
Worn by time and filled with stories, this wooden vessel has lived many lives far beyond its original purpose. Carved in Hawaii from rare ku wood, it is a traditional poi bowl, likely dating to the early 19th century. Ku wood, once abundant, became scarce by the mid-1800s, making large bowls like this increasingly rare. Measuring over 12 inches, it belongs to a category highly valued for both scale and craftsmanship. Unlike machine-turned objects, this bowl was shaped entirely by hand, its gentle curves and balanced proportions reflecting a refined aesthetic rooted in Hawaiian tradition. The surface bears marks of use, but these are part of its story. A small butterfly-shaped repair, known as a pua, reinforces a natural weakness in the wood. Rather than discard damaged pieces, such repairs were carefully made often by skilled craftsmen in the late 19th century, preserving both function and meaning. Originally intended for serving poi at communal gatherings, the bowl has since taken on many roles across generations. Today it stands not only as a functional object, but as a testament to continuity care and cultural heritage.
I think a conservative retail value would be between $18,000 and $20,000 at this moment. And I think that's conservative. It's lovely.
Thank you.
It's a great bowl.
Thank you. It's got a long life yet.
I received it from my mom, who received it from her mother-in-law. My grandparents received it from their parents, who received it from their parents. So I know it goes back quite a few generations in our family. I believe that the origin of the bowl was Hawaii. This is what has been passed on through the family. My grandfather had grown up a little while in Hawaii.
Carried through generations, this wooden bowl holds more than age. It holds legacy. Believed to originate from Hawaii, it is a rare and powerful example of a traditional Hawaiian calabash once reserved for individuals of high status. Unlike turned wood, this bowl was shaped entirely by hand. Artisans selected a dense, beautiful piece of hardwood, then slowly carved and hollowed it, sometimes using fire to assist the process. To stabilize the wood, it was often left in damp conditions for months, allowing it to cure before final shaping. The result is a form that feels organic, almost alive, shaped by both nature and human touch. The visible repairs known as butterfly joints are not flaws, but marks of reverence. Rather than discard a damaged vessel, they were carefully mended, preserving its life and importance. Such repairs were largely abandoned after the late 19th century, making their presence a sign of true age and authenticity. Large examples like this were uncommon and often associated with royalty or ceremonial use. More than a functional object, it represents continuity, respect, and the enduring value of craftsmanship.
This bowl, it's in wonderful condition. It's in a great piece, probably $18,000 to $20,000.
Really? Amazing. Yes. Well, my estimate was a little off. I've been wheeling this thing around on a luggage cart today.
Oh, really?
My great-grandfather was fascinated with the West, and then my grandfather, his son, took the train out to Denver from New York and rode 800 miles with a group of Native Americans and spent time with the Navajo, Hopi, and a few other tribes.
So these were just items that he acquired along the way?
Yes.
Collected during journeys through the American Southwest, these vessels carry both personal history and the revival of an ancient tradition. Acquired before 1916, they are closely linked to the work of Nampeyo, the pioneering Hopi potter, who redefined Pueblo ceramics at the turn of the 20th century. Inspired by fragments from the abandoned Sikyatki site, Nampeyo revived centuries-old designs, translating them into elegant, flowing compositions. Her work is recognized not by signature, but by balance refinement and distinctive motifs, such as stylized bird wings, all of which appear in these pieces. The group reflects different functions. A small canteen made for personal use or trade carries a simple charm. A hanging bowl with its side lug speaks to domestic life. At the center, a larger bowl stands out for its exceptional form, rich color, and confident decoration. Together, they represent more than collected objects. They capture a moment when tradition was rediscovered and transformed, preserving the voice of a master through form alone.
And at auction, it put an estimate of maybe $1,200 to $1,800 on it.
Oh, wow.
The bowl has a lug for hanging, and when they would hang them in their own homes, would carry a price of $2,000 to $3,000.
Oh, wow.
The center bowl is as elegant as they can be. It has great form, beautiful color, exquisite painting, and I would place its value of $12,000 to $14,000.
Wow.
So.
Well, thank you. That's great news.
This was in my grandmother's house outside of Boston, and when she died and we were breaking the house up, my dad said, remember the Indian basket under the stairs? She acquired it from her mother, my great-grandmother, and my great-grandmother had received it from an admirer, and my grandmother always remembered popping in and out of the basket. My grandmother, actually, today is her birthday, and she was born in 1904.
So this has been in your family for quite a while.
Right.
Quietly standing as the background of everyday life, this vessel carries a history far richer than it first reveals. Created around 1890 to 1910, this is an Apache olla, a masterful example of basketry from the American Southwest. The term olla comes from Spanish meaning jar, and these forms were traditionally used for storing grain. Woven with extraordinary precision, Apache artisans achieved remarkable symmetry and strength balancing function with beauty. The tight coiling and subtle variations in tone give the surface a sense of movement while maintaining structural integrity. Decorative elements add another layer of meaning. Geometric patterns wrap around the form, joined by small figural details, including what appears to be a dog, a familiar and symbolic presence in daily life. As tourism grew in the late 19th century, baskets like this became larger and more refined, created not only for use, but also for trade. Its condition is especially notable. The natural patina built over generations enhances its presence rather than diminishing it. Despite its delicate appearance, the vessel is surprisingly heavy, a testament to the density and craftsmanship of its construction.
On a sophisticated marketplace, it would sell for about $15,000 to $18,000.
Wow. That's really something.
It's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, the form on it is exquisite. I love the aged look on it. It has a
patina.
It has a lovely. Yes. You've been watching the Roadshow, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is an inherited piece. I've only had it for 2 years.
I see.
Somebody registered on the bottom or documented on the bottom pretty much all that I can tell you about it. That it's from a butternut tree and it's from the knot of the butternut tree, and they put the date as 1830 from upstate New York. So.
What appears to be a simple wooden bowl is in fact a quiet survivor of early American history. Carved from butternut burl, likely in the 1830s in upstate New York, this piece reflects the ingenuity and tradition of Native American woodlands craftsmanship. Burl wood, formed as a natural growth on a tree, is prized for its dense, swirling grain that resists cracking. That strength allowed artisans to shape durable vessels from a single mass of wood. The result is both functional and visually striking, with organic patterns that could never be replicated. The small projections at each end, known as effigies, add another layer of meaning. While some are carved into human or animal forms, these remain abstract, suggesting symbolic rather than decorative intent. Alongside the bowl are two hand-carved utensils, a paddle and a ladle, completing what was once a practical set for daily use. Pieces like this are often mistaken for early American colonial ware, but its form and carving clearly point to native origin. Passed down through generations, it carries both cultural identity and family memory. More than a utilitarian object, it stands as a rare example of craftsmanship, shaped by nature, tradition, and time.
If it came up at an auction, I would think it would easily make between $12,000 and $15,000.
Wow.
The ladles, $200, maybe $250 each.
Excellent.
If those little bumps were carved, it would be worth 5 times that.
I see. It was my mother-in-law's.
Yeah.
And she would serve salad out of it.
I wouldn't use it for salad anymore.
No, I wouldn't either.
My grandmother was born in 1880, and when she was a teenager, she was courted by a young man who worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs. He was an Indian agent in the Oklahoma Territory. She did not marry him, but she kept the gifts.
Once given as tokens of affection during a long-forgotten courtship, these objects now reveal themselves as powerful expressions of Lakota Sioux artistry. Preserved within a family for generations, they bridge personal memory and cultural tradition. The ensemble includes a ceremonial pipe and its accompanying pipe bag, both dating to the late 19th century. Though later found in Oklahoma, their origins lie in the northern plains, where Lakota craftsmen developed some of the most refined decorative techniques in Native American art. The pipe bag is intricately worked with flattened dyed porcupine quills carefully stitched onto deerskin. Its flowing fringe and surface patterns reflect both precision and symbolic intent. The pipe bowl, carved from sacred catlinite stone, carries deep spiritual associations, while the long stem is adorned with quill work and animal imagery, bison, elk, turtle, and ram, each representing layers of meaning within tribal belief. Together, these elements elevate the objects beyond utility. They become narrative forms embodying identity ceremony and the enduring legacy of a culture.
So the two together, $8,000 to $12,000 for the two.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It could bring more. I'm talking about an auction. If you wanted to insure them, get it up there towards $16,000.
I don't know a whole lot about it other than it was a gift from my Aunt Marilyn, and she gave it to me about 15 years ago. She purchased it from the professor from Boston University who was retiring, and he was a professor of American Indian art. And he sold off his entire collection. She bought two pieces. This is the one surviving piece. The other one was broken. She purchased it, and it was 1959.
Few artists have the power to redefine an entire tradition, and Nampeyo stands among them. This ceramic vessel, created in the early 20th century at Hano, on the Hopi reservation, reflects the hand of a master who transformed Pueblo pottery. Drawing inspiration from ancient designs found at the Sikyatki ruins, Nampeyo revived long-forgotten motifs and brought them into a new era. Her work is known for its harmony and balance, often organized into 4 distinct visual sections, a signature clearly visible in this piece. This form is known as a seed jar, with its narrow opening designed to regulate moisture and protect its contents. The surface features layered tones of red and brown combined with stylized feather and bird elements, symbols deeply connected to nature and life within Hopi culture. What defines this vessel is its elegance. Every line feels intentional, every motif carefully placed, yet nothing appears rigid. Preserved in excellent condition, it stands as both a work of art and a continuation of a centuries-old tradition.
I think on a retail basis, this pot would perform very well, maybe in the neighborhood of $12,000 to $15,000.
12 to 15, okay.
It's a very, very special pot.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
made by
a great piece.
the greatest potter, perhaps, in North America
Really? Yeah.
of the 20th century.
Huh.
I brought a wooden bowl that has been in my family for many years. It had been passed down from mother to daughter, all sharing the common name Mariah. That's my middle name, so that's why I got the bowl.
At first glance, it feels like a simple wooden bowl shaped by use and time. But pieces like this often carry stories far older than the families who preserve them. This ash burl bowl, likely dating to the late 18th or early 19th century, is a remarkable example of early Native American woodlands craftsmanship. Carved from a natural burl, an outgrowth of a tree, the bowl reveals swirling organic patterns formed by nature itself. The maker worked with these forms rather than against them, creating a vessel that feels both raw and intentional. The presence of a carved foot suggests outside influence, possibly inspired by early colonial trencher ware, showing a subtle blending of cultures. What appears to be a handle is something more symbolic. Its shape reflects a stylized human figure, known in some traditions as a spirit form, transforming the bowl from a utilitarian object into something with deeper meaning. Passed down through generations, it carries both cultural and personal history. A rare survival where function, identity, and artistry come together in a single form.
I would say retail value in today's market, I'm going to be conservative and say $12,000 to $15,000.
Goodness. Really? It was just a utilitarian item on the farm for hundreds of years. Oh my goodness.
It was in a cabin that my father-in-law's family owned. He had inherited it from a professor at a college. My father-in-law had driven the professor and the professor's mother on a trip to New Mexico.
Passed quietly through generations, this vessel carries not only craftsmanship, but a moment in time. Created around 1927 to 1928, this large Acoma Pueblo olla reflects both family history and the enduring traditions of Native American pottery. Acoma pottery is known for its thin walls and distinctive clay, often pale, with a warm orange-toned base. This example embodies that mastery. Despite its size, the walls remain remarkably delicate, a testament to the skill required to shape and fire such a form without collapse. The surface is adorned with geometric motifs patterns that trace their origins back to prehistoric designs of the region. These repeating triangular elements create rhythm and balance, connecting the vessel to centuries of artistic continuity. Though there are minor areas where the surface has softened over time, its overall condition is exceptional, especially for a piece of this scale. Large ollas rarely survive intact, making this example particularly rare. More than a storage jar, it stands as a fusion of utility artistry and memory, a fragile yet enduring link between past and present.
At auction or at a good gallery in Santa Fe, I think would bring $8,000 to $12,000. These big pots in this condition are so rare. You have a really, really special piece.
When I was helping my father move, these were on his shelf, and I asked him about them. He didn't remember much and said that I could have them. I remember seeing them growing up. They were always in his study. They have been in my possession since about 2015, I'd say.
Carefully preserved alongside a handwritten letter, these baskets unfold a story that reaches far beyond their form. Created around 1884 by the Atakapa people of coastal Louisiana, they stand as rare survivors of a nearly vanished tradition. Woven from river cane, a material deeply tied to the region's wetlands, the craftsmanship reflects both utility and cultural identity. The set is extraordinary not only for its quality, but for its scale. Nesting baskets are accompanied by a full group of finely made placemats pieces that appear never to have been used, preserving their original integrity. The designs are more than decorative. Subtle patterns woven into the surface carry meaning within Atakapa visual language, possibly referencing clan identity or symbolic elements tied to nature. Each line, each variation in tone contributes to a larger narrative embedded in the weave itself. What elevates this group even further is its documentation. The accompanying letter, written by Mary E. McElhenney of the Avery family, connects the objects directly to a moment when the Atakapa people were already in decline, their traditions at risk of disappearing.
At auction, the nesting baskets alone would be around $4,000 to $5,000 for them. And I would place the same estimate on the 26
Amazing.
placemats. So you're looking at $8,000 to $10,000 worth of baskets.
Amazing.
But the history attached
Yes.
to it, and the names, and the poignancy of the letter are really significant.
I'm pretty sure that my father collected it while he was working out west when he was in college. My father became an anthropologist archaeologist and founded the anthropology department of Florida State University. We would travel, like when I was 12, we went to Panama and stayed with the Choco Indians up the Chagres River. But stuff that was laying around, it was just, they were just there. It was like things in the house. He passed away too soon for me to really understand everything that he had. If I had this in my house for 25 years.
Tucked away in a closet for years, this basket quietly carries the legacy of a life spent studying cultures. Collected during travels in the American West, it is a remarkable example of Pomo basketry, one of the most refined traditions in Native American art. Dating from around 1850 to 1875, this large basket was likely made for native use rather than for sale. Its scale alone suggests importance, as such pieces were often associated with prosperity and used in significant life events from births to ceremonial exchanges. The craftsmanship is exceptional. The tight, precise stitching creates a subtle optical effect, a gentle spiral that seems to move across the surface. Attached beadwork enhances its role as a gift basket, adding both texture and symbolic value. Though time has introduced some wear, the structure remains strong. Pieces of this size are rare, not only for their complexity, but for their survival.
A basket like this, if it was on a retail market today, would fall in the range of $8,000 to $10,000.
It's a Cochiti pot. I got it at a garage sale in northern Texas.
Did you have to pay a great deal for it?
No, I didn't. $15.
You paid $15?
I did.
Do you have a sense of what this might be worth now?
Not totally. I was offered $1,000, sight unseen.
Picked up for just $15 at a garage sale, this teapot form vessel carries a presence far beyond its humble beginning. Created by the Cochiti Pueblo people of New Mexico along the Rio Grande, it stands as a striking example of large-scale Native American pottery. Built using the traditional coil method, the form is both functional and expressive. Pots of this size were difficult to produce and often did not survive, which makes examples like this especially desirable. Its generous scale suggests it may have been used for storing water or food with the opening sealed to preserve contents. The painted surface reflects a deep connection to agricultural life. Bird feather patterns, cloud motifs, and rain markings all speak to fertility and the importance of sustaining crops. Adding to this is a playful sunflower design, a distinctive Cochiti element, blending symbolism with a touch of individuality. Despite its age, the condition remains impressive. Aside from a small chip along the rim, the structure and decoration are well preserved, a rare combination for a vessel of this size.
I think on a retail basis, this pot today would bring in a neighborhood of $8,500.
Wow.
You made a remarkable acquisition.
I did.
How long have you had it?
I've had it 39 years.
Well, you've taken good care of it.
Thank you.
I
went to one of my favorite shops in Frederick, Maryland, and the intent was to find some natural elements to decorate a house that we are going to be building soon. And I saw this on the shelf. I saw the beautiful little deer on it. So I picked it up and to see how much it was only $25.
Hidden among everyday objects, this piece reveals how a keen eye can uncover something truly exceptional. Created in 1949 by Charles Loloma, a groundbreaking Hopi artist, this vessel captures a brief but important chapter in his artistic journey. Emerging after his military service, Loloma began exploring ceramics with a spirit of experimentation. While rooted in traditional Hopi techniques, he introduced new methods, including wheel-thrown elements and textured surfaces pushing beyond convention. This pot reflects that transition balancing heritage with innovation. Its imagery is rich with meaning. Deer sun faces, rain symbols, and swirling forms all speak to Hopi cosmology, where nature spirit and daily life are deeply intertwined. The vivid blue interior, a hallmark of Hopi design, adds a striking visual contrast and depth. What makes this work especially rare is its timing. Loloma soon shifted away from pottery toward jewelry and metalwork, making early ceramic pieces like this increasingly scarce. It stands as a powerful reminder of a moment when tradition met bold new ideas.
Wow. If you were to offer it at auction, I would expect you to see between $7,500 and $9,000 for it.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
It is
I wasn't
amazing.
expecting that.
And congratulations on your good eye.
Wow. Who knew?
Who knew? Well, thankfully we knew.
My grandfather, who worked for the Norfolk and Western Railroad for years, was a major collector of antiques as well as Native American art. He's had this piece ever since I can remember. So when he passed away, I wound up with this piece and have had it for, well, probably at least 20 years.
Rooted in both family history and cultural tradition, this vessel reflects a world where art, nature, and belief are inseparable. Created in northern New Mexico along the Rio Grande and attributed to either Cochiti or Santo Domingo Pueblo, this figural water pitcher likely dates from around 1870 to 1890. Its form is striking, shaped as a bird with bold features, yet every element carries meaning. In Pueblo, belief birds serve as messengers to the upper world where clouds and rain originate. That symbolism is echoed throughout the surface with geometric cloud forms, falling rain lines, and even a lightning motif connecting sky and earth. Along the base, deer figures look upward, waiting for rain to nourish the land. A small dog form appears as well, representing companionship and protection, an essential part of daily and spiritual life. Together, these elements form a visual narrative centered on rainfall agriculture and survival. Though made for trade rather than ceremonial use, the imagery draws from traditions that stretch back centuries. The wear on the handle confirms it was once used as intended, while the hand-formed clay and aged surface speak to its authenticity.
I would say on a retail basis, this would be worth approximately $6,500.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Oh my gosh. This was not something I was expecting for certain.
These pots were my grandmother's. She got them on her honeymoon. They were passed down to her daughter, which is my mother. When my mother passed, I got them.
Shaped by hand and tradition, these two vessels tell a story that spans generations, not just within one family, but within Hopi pottery itself. Passed down from grandmother to mother, and now to daughter, they reflect both heritage and history. The later bowl, created around 1890 at Hano, shows the influence of the legendary potter Nampeyo, whose designs helped define Hopi ceramics. Its refined form and painted motifs resembling bird feather wings carry deep meaning. In Pueblo, belief birds connect the people to the sky, bringing rain, and with it, life-sustaining corn. Beside it sits an earlier and more enigmatic piece, likely from the Palaka ware tradition, dating to the mid-19th century or earlier. Thicker, less formal, and marked by wear along the rim, it was made for daily use rather than trade. Its repeated patterns, possibly symbols of rain, hint at a more personal and spiritual purpose. Together, they reveal two worlds, one created for exchange, the other for living. Both rooted in tradition, both shaped by the same enduring connection to land and life.
As to value, I believe the bowl closer to you on a retail basis would be worth in the neighborhood of $1,200 to $1,500. If you're going to insure it, I would raise it up to around $2,000.
Okay, good.
This bowl's a little more difficult to value. I think on a retail basis, I would value this at around $3,500. Wow. And if we're insuring it, I'd go higher, perhaps $4,500. It's a wonderful pot.
That's amazing.
This spoon has been in the family. It's a family heirloom. It was hanging in a family camp on Lake Champlain for decades. I've called it the wooden spoon, although there's controversy in the family as to what it's actually made out of. My grandfather was well-traveled. He was in the Army, and my great-grandfather did a lot of collecting. And it's got a little Rocky Mountain sticker on the side of it.
Hanging quietly for decades in a lakeside camp, this oversized wooden spoon carried more mystery than anyone realized. What seemed like a simple household object reveals itself on closer inspection as a rare horn ladle crafted from Rocky Mountain sheep. Unlike wood, the material tells its own story. When held to the light, the surface becomes faintly translucent, confirming its origin. The horn was heated, softened, and carefully shaped, transforming a naturally curved form into a functional tool. Marks along the surface suggest it was worked by hand, likely with early iron tools. Its origins trace back to the Northern Plains tribes, possibly the Nez Perce Crow, or Blackfeet, where objects like this were used in communal settings. The scale alone sets it apart. Larger than most known examples, it was likely used for serving food during group meals, emphasizing both utility and social function. Dating as early as the mid-19th century, this ladle reflects a time of rapid change across the American West, where native traditions and expanding frontiers intersected.
At an auction, easily $4,000 to $6,000.
Really?
And this is without a doubt the largest one I've ever seen. And the more I stand here, the better I like it.
I inherited it from my grandfather. He received it from a university professor in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, was he a friend of the family?
He became a friend of my grandfather when he was an engineer laying out a railroad for a timber concession in the mountains of the Dominican Republic.
Carved from volcanic stone, this object carries the legacy of the Taino people of the Dominican Republic, a culture that once thrived across the Caribbean long before European contact. More than a simple tool, this basalt pestle reflects a world where daily life and spirituality were deeply intertwined. Its form is striking, crowned with a carefully sculpted human figure. Unlike typical utilitarian pestles, this level of detail suggests a ceremonial role, possibly linked to ritual practices or shamanistic beliefs. The Taino viewed many objects as living entities imbued with spirit and meaning. Basalt, a dense and durable volcanic rock, made this piece both functional and enduring. It may have been used to grind food herbs or sacred substances, bridging practical use with symbolic purpose. Today, it stands as a rare survival from a culture profoundly impacted by early colonial encounters, preserving not only craftsmanship, but a deeper connection to belief, identity, and the natural world.
I think conservatively, a retail price would be between $4,000 and $6,000.
That's wonderful.
What I think is a tea cozy that I purchased on Portobello Road in London about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And what attracted me to it was I have some other whimsies that are beaded in the same manner that I purchased in the States. And this beading reminded me of those pieces. Those pieces, I believe, were made by the Iroquois Indians near Niagara Falls at the turn of the century.
At first glance, it appears to be a charming textile, perhaps just a decorative tea cozy picked up on a London street. But beneath its delicate surface lies a rare and remarkable example of Iroquois beadwork dating back to the mid-19th century. Unlike the small souvenir whimsies commonly sold near Niagara Falls, this larger form is exceptionally uncommon. Its structure is both functional and refined, lined and padded to retain heat, while the exterior becomes a canvas for intricate artistry. The beadwork itself is extraordinary. Crafted with clear Venetian glass beads, the surface captures and reflects light, an effect deeply valued in native cultures often associated with spiritual presence. One side features a radiant star motif, symbolizing the upper world, while the other evokes a stylized tree of life, grounding the piece in themes of growth and continuity. Every element is carefully balanced, from the symmetry of the patterns to the density of the beadwork. Preserved in outstanding condition, it stands as both a utilitarian object and a rare expression of cultural identity.
On a retail basis today, I would value this at approximately $5,000.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Really? I had no idea.
It belonged to my grandparents. My dad was born in Phoenix, Arizona. He remembers it being in the house. His mom collected Native American artifacts and bowls and rugs and stuff like that. I do not know where it came from. She never really told us. He didn't know. My parents, after they acquired it, tried to research it and couldn't get any information on it. And then it passed down to me.
It carries a sense of purpose that goes far beyond its form. This remarkable ceramic vessel, created around 1880 by the Zuni people, is not simply pottery, but a deeply symbolic object tied to ritual and survival. Formed using the traditional coil technique, the bowl is built layer by layer, then brought to life with sculpted frogs rising from its surface. In Pueblo belief, frogs are powerful symbols of rain and renewal. Their sudden appearance after storms made them a natural link between water fertility and the continuation of life. Touches of red pigment on each frog are intentional. Red represents the upper world, the source of rain, and serves to energize the piece, giving it spiritual vitality. Around the base, deer figures appear with heart lines marking the center of life force, connecting the physical and spiritual realms. Known as a frog bowl or kiva bowl, it was likely used in ceremonies to call for rain, essential in the arid Southwest. With 6 frogs instead of the more typical 3 or 4, its symbolic intensity is heightened. It is more than an artifact. It is a reflection of belief where nature spirit and daily life are inseparably woven together.
It's a really nice pot and very desirable. I would value this on a retail basis at about $5,000.
Okay, wow.
And whoever got it would be quite thrilled to own it.
Yes, very thrilled. Thank you so much. My mother would be so pleased.
It was my great-grandfather's. Before the Civil War, he worked for the Consular Service, and he was in Peru and Mexico studying silver mining techniques, and he was in Tahiti, and he picked up things and collected them in his travels. And then when the Civil War broke out, he went back to California and enlisted in the 2nd California Cavalry. He had a little display cabinet with things he'd picked up in his travels, and this was one of them. And all my dad knew about it, and what he told me was that that was Grandpa's Inca pot.
Long before recorded history reached the Andes, artisans were already shaping clay into lasting memory. This vessel from northern Peru, created by the Moche culture between 300 and 500 AD, predates the Inca civilization by nearly 1,000 years. Its form is known as a stirrup vessel, defined by the distinctive looped spout rising from the top. More than functional, this type of object often carried symbolic meaning, sometimes placed in tombs to accompany the deceased into the afterlife. The figure depicted here appears to be a warrior, holding a shield and gesturing forward. Details of costume posture and expression suggest not just a generic figure, but possibly a specific individual. Moche artists were known for their remarkable ability to portray identity and status with striking realism. Though molded rather than entirely hand-built, the vessel was finished with natural pigments and carefully burnished before firing. Signs of age, slight wear, and surface pitting only reinforce its authenticity and long passage through time. What makes this piece extraordinary is not just its age, but its continuity. Collected in the 19th century and preserved within a single family, ever since it bridges ancient civilization and modern history in a single unbroken story.
I feel at a good auction, this is $3,000 to $5,000.
You're kidding.
No.
I think we'll put it in the china cabinet instead of on top.